everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another quick beginner friendly tutorial. Now for this one, I'm about to show you two ways in which you can gather fabric. Very easy, very quick. I'm going to show you how you can gather it by hand and how you can gather it by using your basic sewing machine. So let's get started. So the first one I'm going to show you is how you can hand gather your fabric. This is great, especially for persons who do not own a sewing machine as yet. I still use this way from time to time even though I have a machine. So let me just explain this to you. So the first thing you want to do is have a straight needle and thread, and you want to thread your needle to begin, and you knot the end of the thread. The next thing you want to do, starting at one end of your project, you want to insert your needle and thread through your fabric. Using a basic running stitch, you want to continuously insert the needle at the top side and at the bottom side of the fabric, continuously in this motion as you see me doing here. So just about ½ inch away from the fabric, assuming if you're going to make like a skirt, you want to have that extra allowance at the top for when you're attaching the waistband. So you just want to continue in this motion, in and out of the fabric until you get to the very end of where you want your gathers to be. So let me just show you again. I'm inserting my needle on the inside, bringing it back on the outside, the inside again, and then the outside. And you can do this as many times as you want. This is the only way you're going to get your fabric gathered. You can also do the running stitch as wide as you want. It will determine the outcome of how wide or short your gathers may be. However, it's up to you and how quick you want your gathers to be done, okay? Once you have those stitches as you see me doing here, you'll be able to pull the thread and then you would see the bunch up effect starting. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish the end of this fabric so that you can really see how my gathers will be coming along at the end. Okay, so this is what we have. You can go ahead and pull your thread as tightly as you want. The tighter you pull the thread, the more bunches you will get, the more gathers, and of course the more fabric you will need for your project. However, it all depends on the look that you want your project to get. Next thing you're going to do is just tie a knot at the end to secure the gathers in place. If you do not tie this knot, your gathers will definitely become loose and you don't want that, right? And that's it for the hand gathering. You see how easy that was? This is the final outcome. The second method of gathering fabric I'm going to show you is using my sewing machine. So I have my stitch length on 4. That is more like a basting stitch. It's the most loose stitch on my machine. My thread tension dial, I'm going to set it to the most loose one, which is at 9. And for my stitch, I'll be using a regular straight stitch. So I'm just adjusting my machine to be at a straight stitch, right? Our stitch width dial wouldn't matter in this case because we're doing a straight stitch, as it only applies when doing zigzag stitches. So now you're just going to go ahead and sew your fabric using the regular straight stitch. You do not back stitch at all at the beginning or at the end of the project. Depending on the kind of fabric you're using, I'm using cotton fabric, domestic cotton fabric. You may notice that your fabric may start to get up as you go ahead and sew it on your machine. So you just use that regular straight stitch from the start to the finish of your project. Once you lift your presser foot, you want to pull a thread, give it some extra thread so that you'll be able to use that to gather your fabric accordingly. Once that is completed, this is what we have. So you can choose either ends, it really doesn't matter. You just choose the side that you're most comfortable pulling your fabric with. So I'm just going to tie off one of the ends. I'm actually tying off the end that I began sewing the fabric with, and I'm tying both strings. Now we're going to go ahead to the other side of the fabric, I'm going to separate those two strings, the one at the top, which is facing closest to me, and the one at the bottom. I'm going to allow the one at the top to be free, and I'm going to use the bottom thread only, which is the thread underneath, and I'm just going to go ahead and gently pull. So all you have to do, gently pull the thread and then use your other hand to guide the fabric along, right? You have to be very gentle and careful with this, because in the event that your thread snaps, you more than likely have to start this whole process all over again. So ensure that you're taking your time and just pulling the fabric as gently as you could. Now you would notice in this one, it's a lot tighter when you're trying to gather it. However, the gathers are a lot more even. Once that is done, you're going to go ahead and knot both threads together, the top and the bottom thread. And you can go ahead and cut them off once you're satisfied with the amount of gathers that you have. And guys, that was simpler as well, right? So this is what we have. I'm going to show you the difference between the two. We hand gathered it. The gathers are less even. However, it is easier to control. It is more loose. And with the machine one, the gathers are more tightly compact together. However, it also gives such a nice even finish. So it's really up to you and your project and the look that you're going for. Either way, both gathers are lovely for any type of clothing projects and so forth, right? So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you learned something, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye bye. Don't forget to subscribe.